It's funny when I like look at YouTube nowadays, like these days particularly, I see so many videos and everyone is, you have the people who follow the herd, and then you have the truthers, and those are the people that follow the other herd. But it's essentially two sides of the same coin, and I'm not excluding myself from this because I obviously have a hi Pinky, hey baby, particular what side of various situations are more favorable than others, not just political, even though I don't vote. Um, but it's funny because it's like, I don't know. I hear people talking about monetization and demonetization, and it's funny that they say money is the root of all evil, which would seem to be the case. It seems like more now the internet is. Actually, the internet isn't the root, it's the spread of all evil these days. But when you think about the monetization, it's like if you're being monetized on YouTube, then you're getting the money because you're doing what YouTube wants. But if you're being demonetized or demonetized, then it's like you're being granted the title of being demonetized by perpetuating and involving yourself in the evil that's taking place by opposing everything. Because even though you think you're right, the people you're opposing also think they're right. But the end result is that there's a continual battle going on, and there's nothing to neutralize any of it. It's like in the Hunger Games, when it ended, they were like fighting to get rid of, this superpower, but then they moved in and replaced them, like literally replaced them. And that's essentially what you see on YouTube all the time, And I use YouTube as an example because it's the one platform that gives everybody a platform, a chance to stand there and say, hey, look at me, pay me, give me money for my, sound opinions. It's basically all it is. I don't know. And then you have the people that are just clamoring and fawning for the attention that they get. They'll say anything to get that sticker, that heart, that badge of approval from their YouTube deity. And the YouTube deities just let it, because they're so just self-absorbed and so justified and validated that they believe that everything they say is right. Otherwise, why are all these people approving of them? I saw somebody who was talking about, it was a video, and they were talking about how the elite, the people from the cities were fleeing to the countryside, and the people in the, they were basically saying how, all the people that called the Midwesterners or the Heartland, whatever they call it, people, they call them country, backwoods, inbreeds, whatever, blah, 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 these sort of degrading terms because they live in the city and think that, they're city slickers. They think they're so cool and this and that, and they look at the people that live a more, paced, traditional sort of calm and somewhat more relaxed life as being like, retards pretty much. And then the people were commenting, they all this time they've been crying about, like all these people, they're so, like it's just so, how could they say stuff like that about people? And then as soon as they saw that people were fleeing to their areas, they were saying, go back, we don't want you here, this and that. And they were like, get out of here, block them, they can't come here, this, like stuff like that. And it was just like, the point here, it's not about, anyone, it's not about going and saying, oh, we're gonna, it's okay, we'll take you in, like the, liberals do with all the people that come flooding in with their bullshit, making it seem like, oh, and then they're like, oh, let them in, so what, they rape, it's part of their culture or whatever. It's not about being a bleeding heart, but it's about, it's clear that we're doing something wrong. This side opposing that side, And that side opposing this side, it's not working. And nobody will see it because there's this thing that everyone has called ego, and they can't wait to take every opportunity to puff out their chest and have that moment where they're right. See, you see, now I'm right, and then they just want everyone to come and prop them up and hold them up and, validate them with thumbs up, responses and comments of approval. And it happens on both sides. And it's like, it's just this constant fighting, continual, like endless fighting. And it's like nobody's right anymore. We're just racing. It's the human race towards disaster. Like nobody wins. It's crazy. And it's like, I'm not sitting here like, oh, I don't do it. Everybody does. But it's just, when you see it, you have to call it out. And you have to make sure that you do your best to try to be aware of, I don't know. It's like, we're at a very unique time, and we have an opportunity to really step back, like pull yourself back, like grab yourself by your perception, by the back of the head, and pull yourself way, 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 way out to like a perspective of just looking down, like you're looking at ants, and try to see with, where you can't see detail anymore. You can't tell this group from that group. You just see movement and look at what's really going on. It's really fucking disturbing, and it's like, it's exhausting. It's like there is no end to this. You just want to just be like, what, fuck this. I'm just out, and that's why sometimes I hesitate on making videos, because I am as well susceptible to having, reactions to things that I see. But when you see the bigger picture, it's like, wait a minute, whoa, 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 stop. Something's wrong here. Like, nobody's got it right. No one. And it's just at this point, there's people that are literally just making money off of giving their opinions and just being like, look at this shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's basically it. And I don't know. Like I was saying, back to the root of all evil and the whole money thing. And it's like, like I said before, I don't know, I've said it before in many recordings that I've never uploaded because why? But everyone is essentially a sellout. They all do it. You see people, I remember one person on YouTube, I saw them start by criticizing another YouTuber who had went from being a complete, oh, the end is coming, oh my God, everybody got to prepare, blah, 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 to this like Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And even I was like, whoa, what happened? I thought the world was about to end according to you. And then it was all Bitcoin. And then this other person just had like no subscribers. They were just some person, that just decided like, I guess they were probably one of this person's followers, and they were a bit disgruntled and like, what the fuck? So they got on there and made a video about that person. And of course, when you name drop on YouTube, you get lots of views, because people are searching to see what other people's opinions are of that person when they do something that they noticed. And before they say anything or react, they want to see how other people are reacting so that they know how to react, which is, the monkey see, monkey do, follower, follow the leader thing that is some sort of fundamental infection in the human psyche. But they said, I can't believe what this person's doing. What a fraud, blah, blah, blah. I would never do that. I would never have merch. I hate that stupid term. Merch on my channel. I would never do this for money, yada, yada, yada. And, fast forward. And because of that, they got lots of views. And, I was like, wow, I'm going to watch this person and see where it goes. Because I'm always looking for any signs of, like, true, like, deep-rooted, fundamental decency in people. But it doesn't happen. There's, like, 3 people on YouTube that seem to have an immunity to this, like, need for fame and popularity and the allure of money, and they actually stick with their mission, and they actually seem to genuinely care about, like, the plight of humanity and where the whole species go. They're not, the species goes. They're not just worried about what happens, to them in their individual existence in their short time here. But fast forward with this YouTuber who is now extremely, who is very, very, very popular, and it's just doing the exact same thing that the person they criticized was doing, except for the Bitcoin thing. But they're just out there fear mongering. Oh, it's coming the end, and they got the graphics on their thumbnails that make it look like the fucking world has ended and the apocalypse has started. And they have merch, and they're crying about money and PayPal and Patreon and the whole thing. And it's like I said, no problems will ever be solved when the problems themselves are profitable. And they do exactly, like I call it, poor man's Hollywood, because it's Hollywood that's accessible to everyone, and it allows everyone to sell their souls on a small scale, just like the people in Hollywood do. And then they look at Madonna sitting in her bathtub, and they call her like this fucking scumbag that's out of touch with reality. It's like, yeah, let you get that much money and see how far you become out of touch with reality, because that's what it does. Money is power, and as the saying goes, power, I don't remember exactly, but the quote about power corrupts and something like that. You know what I'm talking about. Doesn't need to be a quote to be obvious. But yeah, and that's why everyone is being, at some point, they're either monetized or they're demonetized, which means they're doing the same evil work that the people that are making money are doing. And then they get the money, finally, after like struggling and being demonetized for so long. YouTube grants them they allow them to have their commercials and have this and that and make money on their channel as soon as they decide to conform and avoid the algorithm by not saying certain words and being a good little tiptoer, because they know that once they're willing to do that, they will conform, and they have conformed already. And it's about keeping the fight going. It's not about, oh, they'll get the message out, because none of them ever provide any information as to what to do, despite saying like, oh, you got to see this, this is what's going to happen, everybody needs to see this, spread this message. It's like, none of this, there's no point to any of this, and they know it. They won't admit it to themselves though, because it's too profitable. Anyway, that's all.